Vicente visits a small town in Spain and steals a number of bottles by hiding them beneath his jacket, while his son Ian utilizes his unusual ability to create illusions, causing the cashier to overlook the theft. Vicente leaves after making a little purchase, and Ian maintains the illusion while his father searches for their truck, but a bunch of gorgeous girls pass by and label Ian a weirdo, distracting him and forcing him to lose the illusion. In the store, the clerk notices the missing bottles and grabs her hammer to pursue Vicente, so Ian tricks her again by pretending to hold a pistol. However, this does not make the clerk stop, and Ian panics, accidentally shooting the lady. As the woman falls, Ian has a flashback to her memories and hears police sirens approaching. Vicente carries Ian away in the vehicle, and when the cop checks on her, the wound is gone. As Vicente drives the truck down the road, the officers pursue them, but Ian turns the mirror to utilize his power and reflect it back at the police cars, fooling them into thinking they're taking a different route as Vicente chastises him. When they drive too far, the illusion disappears and the cops catch up with them, beginning the chase. Ian complains with his father, not understanding why they should keep quiet when they could be wealthy with a simple trick. Vicente refuses to give in, claiming that it will grab their attention, but refuses to answer when Ian's question about who they are. By the time they arrive to the beach, Ian has created a larger illusion, leading the cop to believe they are in a hailstorm. The cop notices the hail destroying his car, and the high wind causes it to overturn, carrying it all the way to a gas station. Finally, the officer sees that everything is well. This entire episode is captured on security cameras and eventually reaches the mysterious Dr. Adriana. The following morning, the two are on the abandoned ship where they secretly live. Ian has a dream about his dead mother singing to him as a baby, and when she screams, he wakes up horrified. Vicente prepares a special birthday brunch for Ian and gives him a photo of his mother from the day he discovered his abilities. Ian then wishes to go to the arcade to celebrate his regular adolescent birthday, but Vicente prohibits it. Furious, Ian goes to his room to vent his rage on the training dummy, but after a lot of beating, he escapes via the window. In town, the cop informs the bartender of the hail he witnessed, which is overheard by the perceiver, who uses his power to knock the cop down. Later in the evening, a special squad surrounds the ship and enters while Vicente is distracted by the television. Adriana shows herself, claiming she has come with the agency, and treats Vicente like an old friend. She wants to know more about Ian, so they beat Vicente to get him to talk, but at the same time, they receive a message from other agents providing Ian's location. Meanwhile, Ian is at the arcade when the perceiver and two agents show up looking for him. The perceiver pushes one of them behind a curtain and easily defeats him before using his radio in an impersonated voice to notify Adriana about the presence of a perceiver. Adriana quickly informs her agents of their new priority. The perceiver continues to look for Ian, who is hiding behind a table. The second agency agent shoots at him, but the perceiver simply walks away and reappears behind the agent, proving that this is an illusion. The agent pursues a fake perceiver, while the real one raises his hand to deceive Ian, but an agency agent immediately covers him with the helmet to prevent him from using his talents. The perceiver pushes the man back and fights him in a dark chamber. He then pushes the agent against a wall, finding himself surrounded by a big team, but he continues to fight them without breaking a sweat, ignoring the VR gamers around him. After all of the agents have been eliminated, the perceiver takes off his helmet and searches for Ian. In the meantime, Esther and another agent approach Ian and lead him outside. Adriana waits for him in a van and tells him there are more people like him before revealing that they have kidnapped Vicente, making Ian to join them. When he enters the van, they quickly tie him up and put on a helmet before taking a blood sample. By the time the perceiver arrives, the van has vanished, so he walks down the street and creates the illusion of a stroller, causing a vehicle to quickly stop and cause an accident. The van driver considers stopping, but Adriana instructs him to continue driving, indicating that the truck was also an illusion. Ian wakes up in the agency facility moments later, and Adriana informs him of their shared history. The agency is an organization that is fighting against the conscience, an organization of people who share Ian's abilities. They've been manipulating people in power for years, which is why the country stays the same regardless of which political party wins. The agency wants to stop them and restore true democracy. Adriana explains that the perceiver will want Ian to join him or he will kill him, so she offers for him to collaborate with her instead. She also wants Ian's blood to contain the formula, which might restrict the enemy's abilities. Adriana then asks what Ian can project and lists a variety of things, including people, but Ian says that he has tried and that creating the illusion of a person is impossible, which Adriana denies. She gives Ian a test that he finds excessively difficult, and she explains that his talents are influenced by strong emotions. Ian creates the illusion Adriana desired by showing him a photo of his mother and talking about his terrible childhood. They're on a vast beach with an annoying fly buzzing about her. Adriana then demands that he restore her to reality while keeping the fly in a loop, which the name they give permanent illusion. However, Ian erases the illusion and requests to speak with his father. Adriana allows Ian to meet Vicente, who warns him that the agency will just experiment on him, but Adriana reveals that Ian's second gift, looking into his father's memories, allows him to learn the truth. Ian enters his father's mind and sees a young Vicente working for the agency. When everyone was distracted by an unexpected alert, he took infant Ian. Adriana found him and tried to stop him, but Vicente fought off the guards and ran away. Back in the present, Vicente collapses as Ian releases go of him, furious to learn Vicente is not his biological father. Adriana confirms this while also indicating that his mother may still be alive. Adriana then presents the blood test results to the American, who wants to know how Ian got his abilities. Adriana claims that he received them from his parents, something they had assumed was impossible because perceivers were meant to be barren. Ian is the first person born as one. The American orders Adriana to retrieve the formula and get rid of Ian, but she refuses, stating Ian's capacity to awaken the third power, which is their only defense against the mule. However, the American considers the mule to be myth. Later, a doctor studies Ian's test results and smirks when he notices his neuron factor of 204%. Meanwhile, Esther approaches Ian in his room and informs him that he is nothing more than a lab rat, so she provides him an escape. They make it downstairs only to be confronted by guards, but Esther defeats them all with a baton, a taser, and her incredible talent. Within a few minutes, all of the agents are unconscious, and the duo attempts to escape. However, Ian advises that they bring Vicente as well because his memories provide the answers he wants. While the two of them takes Vicente away and search for a car outside, Adriana notices the escape and notifies the police. The agents run outside to start a fire, but Ian drives as swiftly as possible while cursing at Vicente for lying. Inside the lab, the previous doctor steals a gun and kills everyone in the room before checking the security cameras and revealing his actual identity as the perceiver. On his way out, Ian uses his talents to cause the guards to fire in an unexpected direction. When they get to the mountain road, Ian's aggressive driving causes the car to go off the road and crash. Seconds later, the perceiver appears and Ian uses his abilities to convince him that there is nothing there, but the perceiver smiles and leaves. Afterward, the three pick a motel to hide in. The following morning, Ian and Esther spend some time together on the roof before returning to their room, where they discover Vicente has passed out from drinking. Ian continues to seek answers, so he returns to his father's thoughts. Ian sees Adriana holding a file for patient Kominski, who would soon be transferred to Poland. She looked at the vans outside and informed the driver that the formula will be injected tonight. Ian looks around and finds a masked man behind the driver who has 3 missing fingers. The shock forces Ian to lose connection. Moments later, Ian walks into the bank and delivers the clerk a random piece of paper, creating the impression that it is a check he wants to cash. The clerk pays him the money, and as Ian walks away, she notices that the check is just a note and alerts security. Fortunately, Ian encounters Esther and they escape before being detected. Back at the motel, Esther enjoys throwing cash around the room before entering the shower, but Ian is anxious because Vicente is not present. When he hears someone park outside, he orders Esther to keep hidden before creating an illusion. When the perceiver enters, he finds an abandoned room, but he soon discovers the truth by locating a mirror that is unaffected by illusions. When the illusions shift, Ian and the perceiver struggle immediately, and Ian tries to use Esther's taser and even a chair without success. They fight for a long time before the perceiver tosses Ian against the wall and, after glancing toward the bathroom, checks Ian's memories. It comes out he went to the bank to get money so he could travel to Poland and meet the scientist who carried out the experiment. Ian becomes unconscious as the perceiver drops him and the man simply walks away. Ian is dreaming of his mother again until Vicente wakes him up and scolds him since the bank robbery has made headlines in the city. Ian accuses Vicente of lying to him and continues to address him by his first name rather than Dad. A disagreement develops and Vicente warns Ian that he has 2 choices: continue down this path, which would only cause him misery, or leave with Vicente. Ian decides to travel to Poland without him. Meanwhile, Adriana and the American track the serial numbers on Ian's stolen cash and discover that he bought train tickets. Later, Ian and Esther arrive in Poland and immediately begin looking for the lab. There are agents waiting for them nearby, but the perceiver kills them all in a few shots. When the couple finds the facility, it is an old abandoned building, and Ian instantly knows the chamber from his nightmares. He insists it should be larger, so he starts hitting on the walls until he hears a hollow sound. Ian breaks through the wall, revealing a hidden chamber filled with cupboards and documents. There's a notepad with the heading Project Awareness and a picture of his mother inside, reminding him of their time together. Esther examines the back of the photograph and realizes that Ian's grandfather is the scientist conducting the trials, and he exploited his own daughter for this purpose. Meanwhile, Vicente returns to his ship and receives an unexpected visit from Adriana, who encourages him to stop drinking and become a proper father. When Ian returns, he discovers that Esther has brought the perceiver inside, claiming to be helping Ian find the answers he wants. Ian refuses to listen and draws a gun, but the perceiver recognizes the illusion and goes right past him. As the perceiver looks around them, he notices more replicas of Ian and soon he is surrounded by them. He realizes they're all illusions and gazes at Esther, who points out where the real Ian is. The perceiver confronts Ian with his own gun and gives the bad news. He is Ian's biological father. During the Cold War, a scientist created a formula that he tested on a group of volunteers, including his daughter and the perceiver. This gave them remarkable powers, making them into spies capable of executing mental tricks. However, after the war, the government didn't know what to do with them and was frightened that these spies would work for the enemy, so they were executed one at a time. They were about to give up hope when the mule emerged. The mule is the last and most powerful of the perceivers, and when they tried to kill him as well, he demonstrated his ability to use the third power, mind control. This ability allowed him to make his rivals murder each other or even self-destruct. The mule then gathered the survivors to build the conscience, where everyone learned to hide their skills and live conventional lives. They nicknamed him the Mule because he was infertile, as all perceivers are meant to be. Ian's mother and the perceiver had not used protection as a result, and she became pregnant on her own, which was considered miraculous. Ian is the only natural-born perceiver. At this point, agents begin to enter the building and are overheard by the perceiver, who orders Esther to transport his child to his Madrid residence. While the two take the stairs, the perceiver fights the agents. First, he shoots them all without hesitation, killing a big number of them. However, they keep coming, so the perceiver begins using spider illusions to distract them and shoot them faster. Unfortunately, two men still approach him from behind and capture him by the helmet. Meanwhile, both of them runs into more agents, but Esther effortlessly knocks them out, even killing them with their own weapons. Then she and Ian run to the roof, where Esther proves her abilities with an incredible jump and perfect landing. Ian hesitates, but when more agents come, he falls down a tunnel and leaves with Esther. The perceiver is then held at the agency's lab. After sending a robot to obtain a blood sample, they turn on the apparatus to check his body, which causes him great pain. The American warns Adriana to stop since it will kill him and they need him, but she ignores him. However, the perceiver is shaking and crying in pain, so Adriana has no choice but to end the experiment. Minutes later, a scientist informs Adriana that the formula has become diluted in the perceiver's body and cannot be recovered. Adriana informs the American that Ian is their only hope. When the perceiver feels better, he demands a glass of water, which the robot brings. At that time, the perceiver reveals that he possesses the third power, and using the robot's camera, he seizes control of the technician's consciousness and forces him to activate the robot's guns, slaughtering all of the scientists and agents watching him. The perceiver then directs the technician to release him. Esther and Ian arrive at the perceiver's home in Madrid, where the housekeeper informs him that Ian's mother is still alive, but in a catatonic state as a result of the tests. As Ian approaches, the perceiver appears and informs him that his mother isn't completely gone. A little bit of her psyche remains trapped within her. Ian enters her mind, and as they reconnect in her memories, her real body begins to shiver. The perceiver soon joins them, revealing Ian's memories of his mother's horrific experience at the hands of the agency. However, before she was captured, she implanted a memory in Ian's mind, allowing him to access the formula represented by the toys. The perceiver wishes to utilize the formula to produce new people with talents, but as he approaches the toys, he is stopped by an unseen wall. Ian realizes his mother does not want anyone to receive the formula, but the perceiver continues to strike the invisible wall, causing significant damage to her. This pain drives everyone out of her mind, and Ian returns to reality, performing a childhood song for his mother before she dies. At this point, a crew of agents surrounds the house and breaks into the room. Ian is in a horrible mental state after losing his mother, and he eventually awakens the third power, which enables him to control the agents and knock them out in seconds. Then Ian goes looking for more agents, and this time he actually compels them to shoot each other to death, grinning at the blood splatters and ignoring Esther's warnings. The agents grow scared and hurry outside to rejoin Adriana. Ian pursues them and brings them to their knees, their guns ready for self-destruction. Vicente appears unexpectedly, informing Ian that the perceiver is influencing him and that he should not be held accountable for a slaughter because he will regret it later. The perceiver throws a gun on the floor and commands Ian to kill Vicente as well, but Ian is just after revenge against his agency. Vicente shouts at the perceiver for claiming to be Ian's father while having never raised him, and the perceiver shoots him. This scares Ian into losing control of the group and running to check on Vicente as the perceiver grabs Esther. Vicente, on the point of death, demands that Ian enter his head. The memory recalls how his mother asked Vicente to take the baby away to save him, so Ian apologizes to Vicente and calls him Dad again. They hug and then watch one of their greatest memories of fishing together, till Vicente's body succumbs and dies. After saying his goodbyes to his father, Ian grabs the gun and heads off to find the perceiver, who is hiding at a party in a nearby building. Ian follows Esther's voice and uses his talents to throw the partygoers to the ground, revealing the perceiver who has Esther at gunpoint. Ian and the Perceiver have a mental battle as they try to seize control of the pistol, but Ian's abilities are not fully developed, and the Perceiver regains control of his hand. The Perceiver then manipulates the mob to attack Ian, who does his best to defend himself from numerous attacks. He uses a tray as a shield, but he is always outmatched. However, his desperate state enables him to tap into the third power and begin fighting the enemies more easily, knocking them down with the help of a few bottles. The Perceiver keeps sending people, and the last one is so powerful that it grips Ian's neck and nearly kills him. Fortunately, Adriana arrives and shoots the guy in the head. Ian then begs the Perceiver not to harm Esther, but Adriana points out that no one else is present, meaning that the Perceiver has inserted a loop into Ian's head. As Ian examines his own memories, he finds out that he did what he saw Esther do and she was not real, and the Perceiver created a loop in his mind when he first saw him in the arcade. Ian sobs, feeling tricked once more, but Esther assures her feelings for him are genuine. Frustrated, Ian shoots Esther, but the bullet passes through her and kills the Perceiver. Esther comes to Ian and they hug. Ian later arranges for his mother and Vicente's bodies to be buried in the cemetery. Adriana also pays them a visit and demands that Ian take a side, stating that she desperately needs the formula, but Ian refuses to join the fight and leaves with Esther to start a new life. Then Ian climbs inside the truck and finally kisses Esther. Before they leave, Ian looks at Adriana, who is talking to the American. However, the man does not appear in the vehicle mirror, implying that she too has a loop in her head. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more amazing contents.